Ooh, a ton of body roll. You gotta take his corner gentle with this one. But if we do a quick acceleration onto the highway merging, you can hear the turbo. If you tune your ear well enough, you can hear the turbo spooling as you take off. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we get a 2023 Toyota Highlander XSE. This one comes with a beautiful silver paint job with blacked out rims, which is a subtle flex. And this one, once again, is presented to us thanks to Whitby Toyota. If you guys need any vehicles and you are looking in the Whitby Oshawa region, reach out to Whitby Toyota. These guys will be more than happy to help you. And since this is a Highlander, we get our two exhaust tips over there. You can probably see them, probably cannot. And we also get a power tailgate. And not gonna lie, this SUV is one of the most executive looking ones Toyota has to offer, especially for the Highlander model. Now, down here, we get our spare tools as well too. And naturally, we already know that our spare tire is going to be at the very bottom of the car, like underneath the car. But of course, we do have some seats back here that you can pull up, making it a huge 7-seater SUV. 2, 4, 6, 5, 6, 7. Math works out, don't question it. And power tailgate all the way, huge. And just look at it, man. This is, I want to say this has Lexus elements in it. Like the luxury I felt when driving this one has some Lexus elements to it. This one has some brimstone tires, so you know the tires are going to be super grippy this time. And when we hop inside, you'll notice we're greeted with some leather over here. Some nice leather all around. We get our ventilation in the back as well too. And some USB ports down here. And if we go all the way to the back, we get some extra seating for some tiny human beings. Because fitting a full-grown adult here will be a little bit challenging because the floor is a little bit higher. But fitting your kids in the back will not be a problem at all. Now, hopping to where all the good stuff is, the front seat. This is where we're gonna drive it. Of course, we're gonna take it out for a test drive naturally, of course. But we get some beautiful seats, and they are bucket seats, and I feel like this one is more sportier than every other one as well too. We also have some automatic seats, so you don't have to manually crank anything up basically. And hopping inside, we're greeted with a huge touch screen, and we also have our climate controls down here, which separates from the touchscreen, means that you're gonna have to get like less fingerprints, which is a huge plus for me. And another huge plus, because this is the convenience package, is that this one has a gigantic sunroof. Because why not? It's Toyota. But anyway, let's get this drive going. Take a look at how this thing turns on. I like how they mix a little bit of analog with digital. To me, that is always going to be a plus. That will never stop being a plus, mixing digital and analog. Because where everything is now going completely digital, where we just slap tablets onto a car, Toyota does its own thing and still has regular, I want to say, analog gauge clusters going for it. So let's talk about the engine a bit. This is powered by a turbo inline 4, pushing 268 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque, powering all 4 wheels, because this one is the all-wheel drive model. And since it's all-wheel drive, we know for one, all right, let's put the all-wheel drive like this. If you're driving on a perfect road, it is going to be front-wheel drive, because there's no need for all-wheel drive in that specific moment. But the second your wheels start spinning for any reason, whether it be snow, ice, or mud, the all-wheel drive kicks in and it sends power to each and every individual wheel, so that you don't lose control and end up going sideways in a huge 7-seater SUV. But again, the biggest change for this one is under the hood, because this one used to be powered by a V6 and now it's being powered by a hardy and enthusiastic inline 4, which is pretty different from its initial start, because it would have had a V6, to be honest. But anyway, let's continue with this little test drive with the second traffic clears up, and let's go onto the highway and test out the power, the size, and the practicality of such a big boy car. Because again, this really is a big boy car. And not gonna lie, it's actually pretty peppy though. Not sure if peppy is the right word, but enthusiastic to put down all its power. Because once the turbo starts spooling, this thing wants to go. Ooh, a ton of body roll. You gotta take a corner gentle with this one. But if we do a quick acceleration onto the highway merging, you can hear the turbo. If you tune your ear well enough, you can hear the turbo spooling as you take off, which is huge. For a car enthusiast, getting to hear those small little induction noises as the turbo takes off is really nice. And honestly, a huge plus. Interior and cabin noise, I want to say this one is well insulated, to be honest. The insulation on this one is pretty good. It keeps out most of the wind, and since it's a windy day and we're going 100 on the highway, I'm not gonna knock it down for not sounding completely silent. But then again, since it is a windy day, it gets a few more points. Of course, we have heated seats. We also get our heated steering wheel, which is almost mandatory for every car in Canada. Well, I wish it was mandatory, but Toyota is nice for letting us have heated seats and heated steering wheels in Canada when it's cold. And we have radio cruise control active, and let us just set for a speed of 105, and it keeps itself in lane, which for me is kind of mind-boggling a little bit, because I just keep my hands just floating above the steering wheel in case input is needed. Oh, see, it tells you to keep your hands on the steering wheel, because it knows people will get lazy and take off their hands. That is pretty cool. That is really nice, and it maintains in your lane. Let's say it won't change the lane for you, but it will. Oh, now it's raining. Now we get to see how this all-wheel drive handles in not so perfect rain conditions. Aha, see, when you get out of your lane, it gives you a warning as well. Turning on our wipers. Let's do a quick little sound test. We are on FM radio. Of course, this stereo comes with FM radio, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are available naturally as well too. And if we increase our volume, and that's enough. This knob feels so satisfying to use. I do not know why. It just feels super satisfying, and it categorizes all your radio stations for you, so you don't have to go through the painstaking process of scanning. But let's go on to vehicle. Since this is the inline 4, and this is relatively new, so our gas mileage is a little bit finicky right now. We get 14.7 liters to the gallon. And you know what, we're putting it in sport mode to give us a bit of a more dynamic engagement. This car is honestly super sporty actually. We get a lot of, I want to say, carbon around here. That is so satisfying to touch. And this thing is like a high revving inline 4. That is so satisfying. I wish to complete it we had paddle shifters to make it fully engaging, but then again you can just put it in manual mode You can just slip it into manual mode and choose your own gears on the fly. What is nice is that the car actually tried to jerk me and stop me from changing a lane before I put on my signal. The second I put on my signal, it knew exactly what to do. Another nice thing I really like about this one is that after driving the RAV4 for a bit, the RAV4 takes a slight moment of lag when you step on the gas. That is completely fixed with this one. And it's super high revving and enthusiastic. I love that. Like, it's almost like driving a V8. But again, since it doesn't have the power, it makes more than enough with the enthusiasm this little thing has. Like, this thing is so excited to step on the gas and go crazy. Like, I honestly like that, to be honest. And yes, it is a 7-seater. Yes, you can haul your family around. It's practical, it's perfect, and it has enough power for you to have enough fun as well. Also, we get wireless charging for your phone, which is a huge plus. Tons of space, and I feel like it feels like I'm in a truck almost, because of the amount of space I have at my disposal. And handling wise, do a little wiggle. Steering wheel is super responsive. Feels a little bit numb, like I don't feel a lot of feedback from the road, which is nice. This one also has really good suspension. I don't know what they did. They tuned it up really nice, but all the bumps, I'm like floating above them. And again, the little wiggle test. The car is super responsive. And of course a little bit of body roll because we have a high center of gravity, but we do get some bucket seats to hold us in place properly. Which, honestly, this thing is perfect. For a 7-seater, that is not crazy expensive. This thing is under 80K for us Canadians. And the looks this thing has, this thing looks super executive, one. And two, it just has that presence. Like, I really wish Toyota would give us the Land Cruiser. Having a Land Cruiser in Canada would be beautiful. But since we have the Highlander, I'm gonna fanboy over the Highlander instead. Because, okay, I grew up with Toyotas, so I always have an affinity to Toyotas. And since I've grown up with them, I nitpick much more because I know what Toyota can do when stressed enough and perfected. Toyota is known for its reliability, and this one has a Lexus feel to it. It's comfortable to ride in, and I'm in sport mode, so let's put it back in normal mode. In the normal driving mode, everything just softens up. Everything feels great, and there is not much to really nitpick on, to be honest, because there really isn't. And even in regular mode, when I decide to step on it, induction noises come in and the car just lurches you forward as it just takes off so nicely though. And I really enjoy driving this one. Like, I could see somebody driving in this car for long periods of time, bumping to their music, and honestly not having a single problem at all. That's because of how good this thing is. Like, this thing feels so comfortable, but so practical and so refined even, that I almost don't want to get a Lexus. Now I want to drive a Lexus to see how Lexus tops this off. It's like how Toyota just keeps getting and constantly drawing me in, basically. I'm almost like at a loss for words almost. But you know me, I like my sport mode. And this thing has a ton of modes. We also have auto hold, so I can take my foot off the brake and just unwind while this thing does its own thing. And it even switches itself off at like a traffic light, for example. It turns off completely to save you on gas. And since it's an inline 4, it saves a lot of gas as well too. that never gets old. Hearing the turbos wind up, sounds like a turbine almost, like a machine. This is like a well-oiled machine doing its own thing, just going with the flow. Again, huge shout out to Whitby Toyota for giving me such a beautiful car to the point I don't want to give it back. My father has a Highlander, and I can see why he favors Toyota so much. He has had nothing but Toyotas his entire life. That's why I've been around them so much, and I can see the driving quality and the ride quality is just so impeccable. At this point, I'm just praising it. I really can't find anything to really nitpick about it. Or you can say, oh, it has a smaller engine now, but that engine still has more than enough power, and you now get turbo noises as well too, which is a huge plus. And honestly, there is not much I can hate about the RAV. Not even the RAV4. Even the RAV4 was good, but this is better, and this one is bigger. I like that, and I honestly do really like that. Getting back to Toyota, we're gonna do one more last walk around as we prepare to give this one back.